And so again, Rinpoche asked about his how he received this his meditation and so on. And then he said he has been taught by some Indian yogi or something like that. Then it's very difficult for Rinpoche in such a situation since all the techniques of meditation, whatever brought him this kind of experience, is unknown to Rinpoche. So it's very difficult immediately to do something. So Rinpoche had to send him back to his guru. Then and again in Dharamsala, after he returned to India, when he was in Dharamsala, somebody came to see him, a European. And that fellow was crying so much in front of Rinpoche and asking for some help, and Rinpoche couldn't really help. It was not really very much he could do, but and he was also just about to leave for Mysore, but then the fellow said he would follow him up to Mysore, and he came to Mysore. And then he wasn't practicing. Then Rinpoche realized after that he wasn't practicing Dharma, he wasn't doing anything like that. And he had an Indian guru, a yogi in Switzerland with a group of about 10 people, and he first entered into this group, and after he got sort of a little bit disturbed by this, and he left them. And the reason why he left is because they were these people. What they were doing is they were given some kind of mantra, and they had to recite the mantra for a very long time, and then they should try to use it on people, whether it could make them feel sick, and when they can cause some trouble, then if they could kill somebody with these mantras. So these were the kind of the mantras they had received. So he felt very uneasy, and he had to leave this group, whatever it was. And so because he has left this group, and then now he thinks that his colleagues were actually sending this mantra or whatever it was after him, and he is suffering very much from all kinds of troubles. And then he was asked whether he would like to go back to his guru. He said, "No, I'm never going to go back, because he's complete disillusion about this method, and it's not real any spiritual practice, just to harm people." So Rinpoche could not immediately give him some teachings and like this, because he was not in the right state. So what Rinpoche had done is made some pujas, some prayers, some pujas for him. And that puja helped him very much, and he became sort of normal. And when he became normal, and then it turned out to be he's a very nice person, very nice fellow. When he's not disturbed, he's a very nice fellow, and also very intelligent one.
양 바로 그런 사람 많이 봐 턴도 되면도 나 이제 턴 한 조금 그때 보면 다 저런 사람도 됐던 전부터 지금 된 뭐지 지금 있는 저가 지금 말이야 양 그때 지금 양 지도 거시지 뭐다 조만 양 소만 용 버지 친수 다양 가서도 가지고 그 도와지 되는데 소용이 있어야지 뭐 그래서는다 되려다 투신 가르쳐 나고 녀고 쉬면 용 되리지도 제가 싫어서
And after Rinpoche gave him the refuge, and then he didn't stay very long. Then again he left. So whatever happened to him, Rinpoche didn't know afterwards. But then he has heard from this fellow some time ago from somewhere. Anyway, so Rinpoche has explained these examples that there are the dangers like that when somebody when somebody seeks some spiritual way or a spiritual method, then there are so many nowadays, so many pitfalls like that.
차주의 신동들은 하는 바시에 제마토 메도샤 레부미 레부서지용으로 다가나니 추대다다 춘주고는 추대네 대시 자가지 의중지 소사지 중시 이야즈 수랑고特别跟 하는 미베 멜레라마네 랑게도 비제토야 한 저시마 펜시에 자준도야 한 상지 공토야 되는 인자 용승이야 고지적으로.
So Rinpoche has many examples like that, because a lot of strange people come to him, and they all had similar kind of problems caused by similar things. And so when we practice Dharma, we must do it very correctly. We should not wait results, some marvelous results, some wonderful experience, something to occur the next day or very soon. And one should be patient and practice slowly with patience, as if one is growing a tree, growing a fruit tree. If one grows a fruit tree, then first sowing the seed, then little sprout comes out, then we take care of that sprout for days and days, for months and months we take care of that, giving water, and so patiently giving water and everything, taking good care of, and then gradually a tree would come out, and after 1 or 2 years then some fruits will come, and like this gradually it can become a very beautiful beautiful tree. In the same way, when one should proceed on the path of the Dharma, slowly and gradually, and if one takes steps in this way, then one will accomplish not only first one should depend on the guidance of a qualified master, and so through practicing under such help, then gradually one will be sort of self-sufficient in one's practice, and then gradually one will accomplish all the goals for this lifetime, for the future lifetime, and finally to attain liberation and full enlightenment state of Buddhahood. So that's all for this evening. Here Rinpoche completes the teaching on the medium scope. Tomorrow we will begin with the higher scope, and although Rinpoche we should listen to the teaching of the Dharma with pure motivation of bodhicitta to attain full enlightenment state for the sake of helping all sentient beings without exception. So Kyabje Rinpoche has explained the last 2 days, and the practice in common with the path in common with the small scope and the medium scope, and principally the practice of refuge, which is a very important foundation, and also something about the practice of about the cause and effect or karma, about karma in relation with the precepts of in connection with the precepts of the precepts of taking refuge, and also about the sufferings of the samsara and the renunciation, and the path of medium scope. And today Kyabje Rinpoche will begin the teaching of the path, the great vehicle, or the great great scope.
말아서 당도 아니 진짜마도 마셔마지. 되게 취해 마시는 거. 신들라더니 대주다 메다바 저 메다바 성로도 저 치마들베 다들 개체한도 저 치마들 야고지 부분도 선데 되냐로 지용데 얘네 최근 걸로 줘. 저 정말.
So at first, when we have no thought about the future, we have no thought about the practice of Dharma, and we are ignorant about the future, and we have no concern whatsoever about the future existence, and have no real thought and intention of practicing Dharma. And from that level, then we make progress, and the necessary understanding and the concern of the future existence, and for the future existence, and for the benefit of the future existence, we begin to practice Dharma through taking refuge and so on. That is the first, like the moment, the very first entrance into the first step, the first entrance, the door to the path of the Dharma. So with this motivation, on that level, on that the lowest level of the practice, where one seeks the fortunate future rebirth, future existence, happiness within the samsara for oneself in the future, and so to fulfill this desire, this wish, one takes refuge in Triple Gem, and also observes correctly the law of karma, the law of cause and effect, by abandoning the unwholesome actions and accumulating the wholesome ones. And so that is the principal practice of the path in common with this small scope. So that so that consideration for the future, and understanding and consideration for one's future existence, and also taking refuge in Triple Gem, and observing the precepts, the law of karma, that is it's not something which is only needed for the lower level or for the small scope, but it is something which is also necessary for the medium scope and also for the great vehicle. That basis or that foundation must be there.
Sansan Tele Sona, the Chiwachima Bemilu, Lalu Leage, Gyodu, Huda Cheva Mado, Koala Tadal and then call to have Solo to Yomari, Tadagadesha.
So for a person with a small scope, the typical sort of a small scope, then does not see further, does not look further. If if one attains one's goal, that is happiness within the samsara, better rebirth, fortunate rebirth in certain fortunate realms, and that's it. Then one does not seek anything further, such as the complete liberation from the samsara. And on that basis, then a person following the medium scope, the path of the medium scope and the great scope, develops a much broader view, much broader view, which permits them to see much further than the favorable future existence in the samsara, because one realizes that unless one is really free from the cycle of conditioned existence, there is no real happiness, no real freedom, and one is anyway subject to degeneration, subject to other suffering. So therefore, a person of a medium scope or a greater scope seeks still much more profound and much more stable goal. So a person of medium scope and great scope is completely disillusioned about the samsara, about the real nature of the samsara. Thus develops a very deep and sincere pure renunciation or aspiration to attain liberation. So that much is common for both. But then there comes a difference, because a person of a medium scope seeks this liberation, this freedom from the cyclic existence merely for individual oneself, for the benefit of person oneself. But a being, a person following the path of a great scope is not only preoccupied with one's own problem, but the view is again much broader, and is concerned with the same problem of all sentient beings. So a person following the great scope sees that although one attains individual liberation, that is that's truly that's truly a solution to the for oneself problems of the samsara, but that is not enough. That's not enough because all the other sentient beings, one must also be concerned about the problem of other sentient beings. Moreover, unless one attains the full enlightenment state, one is still subject to certain obstacles or certain shortcomings within the mind. There are certain still, one is not completely free from every obstacle, and also one cannot accomplish all the virtuous qualities of the mind. So therefore he generates the motivation or the aspiration towards the attainment of full enlightenment state of Buddhahood. Even the great arhats who have attained liberation, they definitely have reached a status which is stable. It means there's no returning into samsara, there's no fall back into samsara, but still they are very limited. They have not accomplished their own goal, as well as they have not accomplished the goal for other sentient beings. So they are very limited in their ways and means to help other sentient beings, and and also the quality of cessation of obstacles, as well as the quality of fulfillment of the virtues are not complete. So in order to generate the bodhicitta, first of all, one must establish the even ground of equanimity, which equalize the this uneven and this discriminative or very different attitudes towards other sentient beings, like one's friends and enemies, to equalize its attitude. At the moment, within our mind, we have three different attitudes: an attachment or a liking or a dislike towards liking towards somebody, a dislike towards some other people, and indifference. So actually, those beings whom we like so much, we are so strongly attached, so strongly clinging, those very agreeable beings have also been many times in the past in the samsara, have been many times very disagreeable, have been the most disagreeable ones, and have caused also great harms to oneself. As Je Rinpoche has explained before, that this fault of samsara, this suffering of the samsara, which is called uncertainty. Uncertainty means there's no certainty about friends and enemies, and one's uncertainty about um, one's status, one's position in the samsara, let alone from one life to another, but even within one life, one's friends and enemies sometimes change completely. A best friend um, of the past in this life can turn to a very disagreeable one, or very once very disliked object. So those sentient beings whom one considers as one's friends and one's own side, and they also have, and with whom one shares everything, and one try to fulfill all their welfare, and so on. Those very sentient beings have also caused great harms in the past, such as destroying one's own life and even cutting one's body into pieces, like this have done so many times in the samsara. In the same way, those sentient beings who one dislike completely, one hates very very strongly, those beings have also have cared for us so many times with great love and compassion and so on, and have helped us so many times in the past. And then we have a third party, a third group, a very large group of sentient beings whom one considers as indifferent, that some with whom one has nothing to do or no relation whatsoever. So, but in fact, we have a very close link and relation, positive and negative, with all those sentient beings. So no one is ignorable. So all three the groups of sentient beings have in fact they are equal. They are equal in treating us in positive ways, in negative ways, or being indifferent. There is no difference between them. It is like we know with our experience, somebody who hated us very much, or who was very disagreeable in the last year, can change and become one's very reliable, very trustworthy friend, and one shares everything with such person. This happens very often, even to us. And And conversely, it also happens very often that somebody who has been a very good friend of oneself, very trustworthy, very reliable friend, some time ago, a year ago, can become a very because of certain circumstances or because of certain disagreement or a certain situation, can change to a very somebody who one hates very much or hates each other very much. And in the same way, it happens very often that somebody with whom one had very close contact and very close relation before, positive or negative relations in the past, but then after one completely breaks the relation um, lose all breaks all the relation and become totally indifferent, okay, um, unknown person.
NgalSo derigi trogu ima tena gabuche. Talu dache dengan tena magache. Talu kanya mayimba tena gadu meba tangyo shikiyo.
So thanda sumuravan no no
Desang gabu imba tena gabuche. Shidang cha. Desang magange tena shidang che, kundu che. Kanya mayimba tena tangyo chede.
So usually we have at present we have uh, we um, we have these different attitudes. One is very attached to um, that person, very strong attached to that person, who is presently very agreeable, and have a very good relation, and one hates that one who is presently negative and disagreeable, and one ignores completely with whom who has no presently any relation. But in truth, there is no real reason that one should have such different attitude, because they have done, each of them have done the same thing to us. For example, if a person has hit us on our face last year, and today, if that person no, this year or this time, if that person brings to us great gifts and presents and give us money or whatever, then one usually a silly person would be very would like it so much. It would be so appreciate these gifts and presents and so on, and will be really excited about it. And in the same way, as a person in last year has fed us and given us shelter and food and everything, and this year or this time has, because of some reason, beaten us or scolded us or something, then ordinary person would very again would very badly hurt. And there could be somebody who has beaten us last year, but who has cared for very much the year before, and this year do nothing. So the ordinary person attitude towards this is very short-sighted, and it's completely dependent on the immediate relation whatever it is, negative or positive and or indifferent. According to that, or the immediate relation, they treat them differently. And that's all we should meditate and analyze why we have such different attitudes. Loving somebody very much and hating somebody else and ignoring the other. We should analyze and to find out the reason why we are doing that.
That's all the way you did a gago at it, Cocason can you color it, Peshan, Pemberton, Yahuji, was a believer. Town of Magamete, Nani Pesha or the Calate, when you give my best, Mendimato, to a vanity way.
And the answer or the reason that we can bring is because this person, one who loves very much now, has given us this and that, helped us in this and that, and this and that, and then in fact then one should realize that it is there's no difference, because the other person, one who one hates very much now, also have done exactly the same thing some time ago. And and the person one hates very much because he has beaten us or something, and because of that we are very angry, we are very mad on that person. But then in fact that person also have helped us the year before, like one's present friend. And the third person, although did not that doesn't do anything at the present, this year, but the person has beaten us last year and given present year before. So so if one analyze very logically, then one will come to the conclusion that there's no real difference at all in those three beings. So in the same way, all sentient beings within samsara, they have all of them have been in the past, have helped us in many ways in the past, being one's parents, father, mother, one's children, one's friends, and so on, and have treated us with great kindness and love and kindness in the past. And equally, all sentient beings have also have harmed us in the past, have killed us, have robbed us, and harmed in many different ways. And so there's no one who with whom one didn't have such a relation. And also, all sentient beings have also been many times been indifferent, many times been indifferent to us and had no relation whatsoever. So every sentient being, without exception in the samsara, they all been one's friends and one's enemies and indifferent. So, so this way we should contemplate, we should meditate until a real state of equanimity develops, arises in the mind towards all sentient beings, until all sentient beings become equal and even in your mind. And then remain in that equanimity, and also pray to the Guru to give the blessing to realize such equanimity, and to be able to realize the equanimity, and then when one's mind distracts from that state, then one should again apply the analytical meditation or contemplation with reasons and so on, and then again practice the equanimity. So when one practices the equanimity in that way, sort of apply to the general sentient beings, the generality of the sentient beings, then it seems sort of easy. So it would be sort of easy and not so difficult, but it is still very superficial. It can be very superficial. So to train the mind precisely, then one should visualize in front of us certain particular sentient beings, some people, somebody with whom one really has those different feelings, those different attitudes, positive or negative or indifferent attitudes, and somebody one really doesn't like, or somebody one likes very much, one's friends or families like that, or somebody completely unknown. One should place them in front of us in your mind, and then
차도 매봐. 아니 지금 그니라 베니리 사는 이제 상황에 요즘 뭐 하여튼 전 데스는도 되는 거예요. 뭐다 미국 거의는
So, so by visualizing them in front of us, then we directly apply the analytical meditation with apply those reasons to on each of them, and try to understand that one should not have this great attachment and so on one's friends, because in the past they have caused many harms to us. Also, one shouldn't have all this very strong hatred and anger and so on towards one's enemy, because this is the present relation, but in the past they have been completely different and have treated us completely in a different way. And also, one should not ignore the other person, because although for the moment there is no relation, but in the past have helped us for so many times. And so with this, try to make oneself understand this, and then bring one's mind to the point, like conviction or determination to eliminate these discriminative attitudes, these different attitudes towards them, and to apply total equanimity upon all three of them. So this one should decision one should make in one's mind, and then remain in that state of equanimity as much as one can, and then visualize the Guru in form of Buddha Shakyamuni upon one's head, as always, and then one makes prayer to the Guru to be able to give you the power or the energy to be able to actualize this kind of equanimity in your mind towards all sentient beings, and to clear away all the interference for the accomplishment of that, because this kind of discriminative and this very the uneven attitude we have towards sentient beings is one of the greatest hindrance for the accomplishment of the bodhicitta, for the accomplishment of all the virtuous qualities. So therefore we pray very deeply to the Guru to help us to eliminate this kind of obstacle from one's mind, and to realize the equanimity towards all sentient beings. And this way, with contemplative analytical meditation, and then again remaining in the state of equanimity, then again praying to the Guru, and so in this way the meditation should proceed. So when one practices Jorche, the preparation for Lam Rim meditation, then first you visualize a great assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattva Guru in many different forms, and then one makes a prostration, and also makes all the various limbs of the offerings, and then at the end we make this special request to all the lineage gurus and so on. But then at the end, all the assembly, all the lineage gurus and Buddhas and the members of the assembly, they all absorb into the central body of the Guru, and that descending upon one's own head, and then we pray like Kushidani Lamalhavela, that you are the embodiment of all the bodies of the Buddha, you are the embodiment of Guru and Buddha and Bodhisattva. Like when we make this prayer, then we are single-pointedly concentrating to the Guru and making the request to the directing it to the Guru, and so at that time, then one should visualize that this not just requesting with no meaning, without any meaning, but making a true request to the Guru to grant you the power, the ability to realize, to actualize those different points of the meditation, like Guru devotion, beginning from Guru devotion, recognition of human rebirth, impermanence, etc., from point to point. So we make the request to the Guru, ask for the Guru's blessing to realize these things in us and to clear away the interference of them, and then we should, each time we make this request to the Guru, we should visualize the stream of light and amrita, the nectar, flows from the Guru's body, enters through the crown of our head, and enters our body, gradually enters our body, fills our whole body, and cleans completely, washes away completely thoroughly all the obstacles, the impurities, obstacles, or this kind of the particular or general obstacles are all completely purified, and one should think one receives the full blessing, the power of the Buddha, and gain the necessary the realization. So this form of the Guru upon one's head, one should keep it always upon one's head, and then before any meditation, for example, like now the equanimity meditation, before one enters into the actual meditation, one should first visualize the Guru upon one's head, and make a very deep and sincere prayer and request to the Guru to clear away all the interference of this particular realization, such as attachment and ignorance and hatred and all this kind of indifferent attitudes, to completely eliminate them and to seize them completely, and then to give oneself the power or the ability of developing the equanimity. One should do this prayer very strongly and combine it with visualization of the stream of light and amrita going through. and then it is also very important before each meditation to generate a sincere motivation, not enter into meditation just like that without any sort of purpose. One always generates the motivation that through analyzing why one is still suffering and taking rebirth in the samsara, going around in the samsara, going through the sufferings of the samsara, and then to realize that it is because of, for example, for this meditation, the very reason why, the very cause or the very reason why we are constantly living under sufferings and going through the cyclic existences, because we have the ignorance, attachment, and the hatred. So this kind of discriminative attitudes toward other sentient beings, and that is the very reason we are going through the cyclic existence. And with this understanding, then we enter in the practice of equanimity. So then when we have this understanding, then we will feel a very sincere and a real sort of need for developing the equanimity. And then we make the prayer to the Guru, and after then we actually apply the analytical meditation with all the reasons and so on, or visualizing the beings in front of us and so on. And until one is sort of fully convinced of this and get full determination or feel full conviction of that, and then again pray to the Guru and so on. This way, if one meditates, then all these realization of the Lam Rim meditation will be attained very easily without obstacles.
Rangi lama da ye mebe sanje sunda ji ne jizun ruma da jawa sheta toba na kanda sangu yo ne tu yin su su deva jesa suwa da sa de kadu yin la rangi ngoli yo la sang tong ne yo re yin la yo la sang tong ne yo re kuwa na la anu be jita yang wa de le be dwa chi devja chung ru da dan thya ba ru je se da thya ba ru chung ne lama chi sam je ne be so da wi na me ma yin ji ne ba le phan ba la zo je ne ba le phan wa re te ayo ma yo thang wa ma kali ni yo ba re.
And so no. And also generally, even outside of the Lam Rim meditation, although one doesn't practice the whole the Jorche, the preparation, but every time, all time, one should always one should always keep the presence of the Guru in whatever form one wishes, in form of Guru Shakyamuni or Tara or any other deity. There's no difference. All are manifest. They are only forms, just manifestations of Buddha, and that we should see that deity, one's personal deity, one is with whoever we are acquainted with, and we should see it inseparable with one's Guru and with all the Buddhas, and that presence we should always keep it with us, on one's head or in one's heart or anywhere wherever is suitable for us. And so any time when we face some problem, some danger, and some danger from visible or invisible causes, circumstances, we should immediately remember this. Should immediately remember the presence of the Guru in you, and if one can apply this kind of method or this kind of antidote, then there's no question, no doubt that one receives the protection of the Guru at any time.
사변도 좁아 있나? 사변도 자는 춘다루 산다루 자가제리 야마주나 지금 안다. 다가는 최근에 년바 지고 저 성동되나 라마산도 수가 때문에 진로 주는 줘야게 내 소사지 좀 맞은 또봐 얘기 용구나.
So when one receives the teaching of Dharma, then that is like sowing a seed on the ground, and then like one grows a flower or whatever, then after sowing this seed, then one should take care of it, give water and look after it very well. In the same way, when one receives certain teaching, certain methods of practice, just merely doing it like this, sort of on an intellectual level, or just thinking on an intellectual level, or practicing it, just the techniques like that, will not give us the necessary result or the fruit. One should always combine the practice of the meditation with the devotion to the Guru, and with the prayer to the Guru, and this purification, this constant purification from the Guru. That if one combines this one's practice with such a method, then it will be very fruitful.
Lam Rim Chen Mo
So actually, Lam Rim teaching must be given very in great details, and very elaborately must be taught, with teaching every details and all great precision. But there are certain obstacles. Rinpoche says that he doesn't speak the language, which is a great shortage, and you wouldn't understand if he speaks in teaching, start pouring into Tibetan. In Tibetan, that will be difficult for you. So there are certain obstacles like that. So it's not very easy to say a lot of things, although they are important. Because it is encounter of dumb fellows. For you he is dumb, and for him you are dumb. So it is an encounter of dumb. So it is not very easy. But this doesn't mean that you should be completely discouraged about your practice. That so that, oh, now I don't read Tibetan, I can't read the Lam Rim, big Lam Rim texts and so on. So maybe it's quite hopeless for me to practice Lam Rim. Such idea is nonsense. One can always learn. If one makes effort, one can always learn something according to one's capacity, one's level of capacity. One can always learn, even let alone us, but even animals who are very ignorant and very stupid, they also can learn when they make the effort, and when they are trained in the proper way, they can also learn very quite fantastic things, like in the circus and so on. So therefore, if one makes effort, there's not very much which we cannot learn.